Nobody cares. Work hard. Focus on yourself in 2026. I say that not to harden your heart, but to free it. Because somewhere along the way, many of us were quietly trained to wait. To wait for recognition. To wait for permission. To wait for someone to notice the weight we carry, the sacrifices we make, the private battles we survive before breakfast. And I have come to tell you something that may sting at first, but will save your life in the end. Nobody is coming to rescue you. Nobody is standing at the edge of your struggle, applauding your effort before you succeed. Nobody is counting how many nights you stayed awake worrying about your future. Nobody feels the pressure in your chest when you wonder whether your life will become more than your fear. And that truth is not cruel. It is clean. It is honest. It is powerful. Because the moment you stop waiting to be seen, you become unstoppable. We live in a world that celebrates the finished picture and ignores the trembling hands that held the brush. A world that shares success stories without showing the unpaid bills, the silent tears, the lonely discipline, the doubt that knocked on the door every single morning. And still you are here, still breathing, still dreaming, still searching for a better way to stand inside your own life. So let me ask you something right here, right now. In this room full of witnesses to your becoming, what are you waiting for? Applause does not build a future. Likes do not build a backbone. Praise does not create courage. Work does. Work when nobody claps. Work when nobody checks on you. Work when nobody believes you are capable of becoming more than your past. Because nobody caring is not your punishment. It is your training. In 2026, distraction will be louder than discipline. Comparison will be faster than character. Noise will be more available than wisdom, and if you are not careful, you will spend the most powerful years of your life proving yourself to people who were never assigned to protect your purpose. You do not owe the world an explanation. You owe your life an honest effort. Some of you are exhausted not because you are doing too much, but because you are doing too much for the wrong audience. You are explaining your dreams to people who only understand comfort. You are shrinking your ambition so it can fit inside other people's insecurities. You are negotiating with doubt as if it were a respected guest instead of a thief. Listen to me. Your future does not require permission from your past. Your potential does not need approval from anyone sitting comfortably in your doubt. Nobody cares if you stay small. Nobody suffers if you never rise. Nobody feels the ache you will carry if you abandon yourself quietly and call it realism. Only you live inside your unfinished life. And that is why you must work harder than your excuses. Focus deeper than your fears. Protect your energy like it is oxygen, because it is. There is a dangerous habit growing in this generation. We talk about healing, but we avoid responsibility. We talk about dreams, but we negotiate discipline. We talk about becoming better, but we stay loyal to comfort as if comfort were a friend and not a cage. Comfort has never built a strong life. Comfort has never taught resilience. Comfort has never stood beside anyone in the middle of a storm. Growth is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. Discipline is uncomfortable. But regret is permanent. I want you to hear this slowly. No one is coming to push you. You must push. No one is coming to remind you of your value when you forget it. You must remember. No one is coming to organize your time, protect your focus, guard your habits, or save you from your own procrastination. You must become the guardian of your own future. In 2026, you cannot afford to live distracted. You cannot afford to live fragmented. You cannot afford to live emotionally attached to people who do not share your direction. Some people will love your personality but never respect your purpose. Some people will enjoy your company but quietly resent your growth. Some people will clap for you only when your success does not threaten their comfort. Do not build your confidence on reactions. Build it on consistency. Do not build your identity on attention. Build it on integrity. Your real power is not loud, it is steady. Your real strength is not dramatic, it is disciplined. Your real transformation is not announced, it is practiced. Nobody cares how talented you are if you never train your talent. Nobody cares how smart you are if you never apply your knowledge. Nobody cares how big your dreams are if your habits are small. And before you misunderstand me, let me say this with tenderness. It is not that you are unloved. It is that your life is your responsibility. You can be deeply loved and still be required to carry your own becoming. You can be supported and still be expected to do the work. You can be encouraged and still be accountable. Some of you are waiting for emotional readiness before you start. You will be waiting forever. Courage does not come first. Action does. Clarity does not arrive before movement. It follows it. Confidence is not discovered. It is built quietly through repetition. You become strong by keeping promises to yourself when nobody is watching. That is how character is formed. When you get up early and no one praises your discipline. When you say no to distractions and no one sees your sacrifice. When you choose growth over comfort and no one thanks you for it. This is where your future is being shaped. Not in your plans, not in your vision boards, not in your conversations about what you will someday do, but in the small decisions you make when no one is there to reward you. You do not need motivation, you need structure. You do not need inspiration, you need systems. You do not need more information. You need execution. Your life will not change because you finally understood something. It will change because you finally did something. Let me speak directly to the part of you that feels invisible. You are not behind, you are becoming. But becoming requires silence. It requires isolation sometimes. It requires choosing yourself even when it makes others uncomfortable. And yes, people will misunderstand you when you start focusing on yourself. They will say you changed. They will say you became distant. They will say you became selfish. What they really mean is that you stopped bleeding for their convenience. You stopped giving access to your time without respect. You stopped explaining your boundaries. You stopped shrinking your dreams to protect other people's comfort. Growth always looks like disobedience to those who benefited from your silence. Focus on yourself does not mean abandoning others. It means refusing to abandon yourself. It means finally becoming loyal to your health, to your goals, to your discipline, to your future. It means choosing alignment over approval. In 2026, attention will be the most expensive currency on earth. Every screen will fight for your mind. Every trend will fight for your identity. Every opinion will try to shape your direction. And if you do not decide who you are, the world will decide for you. You cannot afford to live on autopilot. You cannot afford to drift. You cannot afford to build a life accidentally. Your focus must become sacred. Your mornings must become intentional. Your habits must become non-negotiable. Your standards must become visible in your behavior. Because the truth is simple. You do not rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your systems. Some of you keep saying you want a different life, but you keep choosing the same day. Same routine, same distractions, same emotional cycles, same excuses dressed up as explanations. At some point, honesty must replace hope. Not harsh honesty, powerful honesty. The kind that says, if my life does not change, it is because I did not change. Not because they didn't support me. Not because they didn't believe in me. Not because the timing was never right. Because I did not become consistent with the life I said I wanted. Nobody cares how unfair it was. Nobody will reimburse your pain. Nobody will rewrite your past. But you can redesign your future. And you must stop using yesterday as a reason to delay tomorrow. There is a stronger version of you waiting on the other side of discipline. There is a calmer version of you waiting on the other side of boundaries. There is a wiser version of you waiting on the other side of self-respect. And you will never meet that version if you keep negotiating with comfort. You are not tired of trying. You are tired of trying without structure. You are tired of starting emotionally instead of strategically. You are tired of hoping instead of building. So build. Build your routines before you build your reputation. Build your skills before you chase recognition. Build your emotional control before you demand emotional safety from others. Because the world does not respond to potential. It responds to performance. Let me be very clear. You are not here to impress people who do not share your journey. You are here to create a life that feels honest when you are alone with yourself. At night, in silence, without applause, without validation. When you lay your head down and no one is watching you perform your strength. That is the only audience that matters. You. Some of you are running from loneliness when what you really need is solitude. Solitude is where your voice becomes clear. Solitude is where your values stop being borrowed. Solitude is where you finally hear the truth about what you want, not what you were trained to want. If you cannot sit with yourself, you cannot build yourself. And if you cannot build yourself, you will keep borrowing identities from the world. Focus on yourself, not in anger, not in bitterness, not in resentment, in responsibility, in courage, in self-respect. Work hard, not because anyone is watching, not because you need to prove something, but because your future deserves a disciplined present. Nobody cares. And that is your freedom. No one is monitoring your consistency. No one is managing your potential. No one is protecting your focus. So you must. This is your life. Not your parents' dream. Not your critic's opinion. Not society's timeline, your life. And it will respond only to what you repeatedly do. Not what you intend. Not what you promised. Not what you post. What you practice. Stand up inside yourself. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel confident. Stop waiting to feel supported. Begin while uncertain. Begin while afraid. Begin while imperfect. Because momentum is not created by clarity. It is created by commitment. In 2026, the people who rise will not be the loudest. They will be the most consistent. They will be the ones who learned how to protect their focus in a distracted world. They will be the ones who stopped explaining themselves and started executing. They will be the ones who accepted the truth early. Nobody cares. So I must care. I must show up. I must do the work. I must protect my future. I must become disciplined with my time. I must become serious about my growth. I must become loyal to my purpose. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Not when I feel ready now. Because your life is already happening, and it will not wait for your comfort. Daily structure replaces fragile willpower. Let me tell you something honest. Something quiet and strong and steady enough to hold your future without shaking. Willpower is not the hero you were taught to wait for. Willpower is emotional. Willpower is unpredictable. Willpower rises when you feel inspired and disappears the moment your life becomes heavy. But structure does not care how you feel. Structure does not negotiate with your mood. Structure does not ask your permission. Structure does not wait for your confidence to arrive before it shows up. Structure stands in your life like a calm promise that keeps its word long after motivation has abandoned you. So many of you have been blaming yourself for not being strong enough, not disciplined enough, not focused enough, not consistent enough. But you were never weak. You were unstructured. You were trying to build a future on feelings. You were trying to carry responsibility on inspiration. You were trying to create a powerful life with a fragile system. And fragile systems break under pressure. When stress comes, willpower collapses. When disappointment arrives, willpower retreats. When life becomes complicated, willpower looks for escape. But structure does not move. Structure holds you when your emotions cannot. I have watched brilliant people lose years of their lives, not because they lacked talent, but because they were waiting to feel ready before they behaved responsibly. Readiness is not a requirement for discipline. Organization is. Consistency is. Clarity of routine is. You do not rise when you suddenly feel strong. You rise when your day is designed to support your future instead of your comfort. Your life is not built in extraordinary moments. It is built in ordinary hours. In how you wake up. In how you prepare your mind before the world rushes into it. In how you protect the first 30 minutes of your morning. In how you choose what enters your attention before your stress enters your body. In how you decide what your hands touch before your phone touches your thoughts. Structure is not restriction. Structure is protection. It protects your energy. It protects your direction. It protects the part of you that knows you were not born to drift. Most people think discipline means forcing yourself to do difficult things. But real discipline is removing unnecessary decisions. Real discipline is reducing chaos. Real discipline is designing your life so that progress becomes your default. If you must depend on willpower to work, you will lose on the days when your heart feels heavy. If you must depend on willpower to focus, you will lose on the days when your mind feels crowded. If you must depend on willpower to grow, you will lose on the days when your emotions feel louder than your purpose. But if your calendar carries your priorities, your feelings no longer control your outcomes. You do not need a stronger personality. You need a stronger schedule. You do not need more pressure. You need more order. You do not need more motivation. You need fewer distractions disguised as freedom. Some of you wake up each day and let randomness decide your direction. You scroll first. You react first. You respond to messages before you respond to your own life. You allow urgency to replace intention. And then you wonder why your goals feel far away. Your goals are not far. Your structure is. Your future cannot compete with your notifications. Your potential cannot survive inside disorder. Your focus cannot grow in a cluttered life. Structure is how you tell your nervous system that your future matters. Structure is how you tell your mind that chaos does not run this house. Structure is how you show respect to your own time. Every morning is either a doorway to your growth or an invitation to your excuses. What you do before the world touches you shapes how you show up to the world. Not what you plan, not what you promise, what you repeat. Some of you are addicted to fresh starts, new notebooks, new routines, new plans, new hopes, but you abandon them when they become quiet and ordinary. You are chasing the emotional rush of change instead of the slow power of structure. Real progress is boring at first. It looks like repetition. It looks like simplicity. It looks like small actions stacked so gently that you almost underestimate their weight. But consistency compounds. Consistency strengthens identity. Consistency builds self-trust. Every time you follow your structure, you teach your mind that you are reliable. And self-trust is stronger than motivation. When you do not trust yourself, you look for external pressure. When you trust yourself, you create internal order. Structure replaces self-betrayal. Structure replaces hesitation. Structure replaces emotional bargaining. You no longer wake up asking, "Do I feel like doing this today?" You wake up knowing what must be done, and clarity is calming. So many of you are anxious not because your life is too hard, but because your life is too unorganized. Your brain is tired of making unnecessary choices. Your body is tired of emotional inconsistency. Your heart is tired of starting over. A simple routine gives your nervous system safety. A simple structure gives your mind rest. A simple plan gives your courage space to grow. Your discipline should not feel violent. It should feel supportive. It should feel like a gentle system that carries you when your strength feels low. If your structure is so strict that it breaks you, it is not structure. It is punishment. True structure bends with life without breaking your priorities. It allows rest without abandoning rhythm. It allows adjustment without surrendering direction. It allows flexibility without chaos. Structure does not remove freedom. It creates it. Because when your essentials are protected, your energy becomes available. When your priorities are scheduled, your guilt disappears. When your habits are anchored, your mind stops negotiating with itself. There is a quiet war happening inside many of you. A war between who you say you want to become and how you actually live. Willpower cannot win that war alone. It gets tired. It becomes emotional. It becomes defensive. But structure does not argue. It simply continues. Think of your structure as a promise written into your day. Not a promise to be perfect. A promise to be present. A promise to move forward even when your mood disagrees. A promise to treat your future with seriousness. Your structure should answer the most dangerous question in your life. What will I do when I do not feel like doing anything? If you do not have an answer to that question, your emotions will answer it for you. And emotions are excellent messengers. But they are terrible leaders. Your structure must exist before your resistance appears. Your structure must already be waiting for you on the difficult days, not created on the good ones. Some of you only plan when you feel hopeful. But the days that require structure are the days you feel discouraged, the days you feel invisible, the days you feel uncertain, the days you feel emotionally exhausted. Those days do not need motivation. They need a map. Structure becomes your map. It tells you what matters when your mind becomes noisy. It tells you what comes next when your energy drops. It tells you where to place your attention when your fear tries to scatter it. Your structure should be simple enough to remember, clear enough to follow, gentle enough to repeat, strong enough to protect. You do not need a complicated system. You need a reliable one. You do not need perfection. You need consistency. You do not need intensity. You need rhythm. A life without rhythm becomes reactive. A life without rhythm becomes chaotic. A life without rhythm becomes emotionally exhausting. But when your day has a pulse, your courage stabilizes. When your habits have a home, your confidence grows quietly. When your priorities have a place, your anxiety loosens its grip. Most people try to control their behavior. But behavior follows environment. Your structure is your environment. It decides what is easy. It decides what is visible. It decides what becomes automatic. If your phone is the first thing you see, distraction becomes easy. If your work is prepared the night before, progress becomes easy. If your meals are planned, health becomes easier. If your time blocks are clear, focus becomes easier. You cannot depend on willpower to fight your environment. You must design your environment to support your values. Remove friction from the habits you want. Add friction to the habits you do not. This is structure. This is strategy. This is self-respect in practical form. Stop trying to become stronger than temptation. Become smarter than it. Place your future in front of your comfort. Place your goals in your calendar. Place your growth where your excuses used to live. Structure is not about control. It is about care. It is how you care for your dreams when they are fragile. It is how you protect your intention when life becomes loud. It is how you honor the quiet part of yourself that still believes you are capable of more. Some of you feel guilty when you rest because your life has no structure. So rest feels like avoidance. But when your structure is clear, rest becomes recovery. Rest becomes part of your design. Rest becomes intentional, not accidental, not endless, not filled with self-judgment. Structure allows you to rest without running away from your life. It allows you to pause without losing direction. It allows you to breathe without breaking rhythm. This is not about becoming rigid. This is about becoming reliable. Reliable to yourself. Reliable to your future. Reliable to the person you keep saying you want to become. Your structure should reflect your values, not your fears, not your distractions, not your avoidance. If your structure does not create space for learning, growth, reflection, health, and meaningful work, it is not aligned with your future. You cannot claim a dream and schedule everything except what supports it. Your calendar reveals your real priorities. Your routines expose your real commitments, not your words, not your affirmations, your actions. Structure is where your values stop being abstract and become visible. Every time you follow your structure, you quietly vote for the person you are becoming. Every small habit reinforces your identity. You do not become disciplined by forcing yourself. You become disciplined by living inside a disciplined environment. You become focused by living inside a focused design. You become consistent by living inside a consistent rhythm. Willpower tries to overpower resistance. Structure removes resistance. Willpower argues with fatigue. Structure prepares for it. Willpower relies on emotional strength. Structure relies on planning. And planning is calmer than pressure. You do not need to wake up every day and convince yourself to try again. Your structure should already have decided for you. This is how you reduce mental load. This is how you preserve emotional energy. This is how you protect your creativity. This is how you protect your peace. Your structure should not be something you resent. It should feel like support, like a quiet hand at your back, like a steady path through a noisy world. It should make your life lighter, not heavier. Clearer, not stricter. Gentler, not harsher. Because the goal is not control. The goal is continuity. You are not trying to impress anyone with discipline. You are trying to stay connected to your future when life tries to pull you away from it. You are trying to stay loyal to your growth when comfort invites you to disappear. You are trying to build a life that does not collapse every time your emotions change. A structured life is not a small life. It is a protected one. It is a focused one. It is a resilient one. When your habits have a place, your dreams stop floating. When your time has direction, your anxiety loses power. When your day has intention, your identity becomes clearer. Stop waiting for the day you feel different. Design the day that makes you different. Stop hoping for more willpower. Build more structure. Stop blaming your mood. Organize your life. Stop asking why you keep falling behind. Look at what you repeat. Look at what you allow. Look at what you protect. Your structure is your silent teacher. It teaches you who you are becoming. It teaches your mind what matters. It teaches your body what rhythm feels like. It teaches your future what you are serious about. You do not need to transform your entire life today. You need to organize tomorrow morning. You need to protect 1 hour. You need to repeat one small discipline. You need to remove one unnecessary distraction. You need to anchor one habit to your values. Small structure creates large stability. Large stability creates quiet confidence. Quiet confidence creates powerful lives. And slowly, gently, steadily, without dramatic announcements, without emotional speeches to yourself, without waiting for perfect conditions, you become someone who does not depend on fragile willpower anymore. Because your life is finally carried by something stronger, your daily structure,